Welcome to the third episode of Art Therapy with Rose. My name is Rose Turner. I also go by Comics. These videos are for all ages and all levels of expertise. You do not have to be an artist to get something out of these, I hope. So today I want to talk to you about details. Adding details to whatever scene you're drawing or painting takes a lot of work and patience, but it brings a lot of life to the painting or drawing or work of art. There are two artists that I want to talk to you about today. They're two of my favorite artists and two of the most influential living artists in my life. And hopefully seeing some of their work and hearing about some of their work ethic and things behind their work will inspire you as well. And both of these artists are just exemplars of detail work. First, let's talk about Landis Blair. He's, realistically, he's probably the best living illustrator that I am aware of, and that's largely due to his incredible patience in his work. If you look at literally anything that he does, you can see that it takes a long time to do, and it took a long time to develop the skills to do it. And I don't want to intimidate you by talking about these artists that have already put a lot of time into their skill. You can still get a lot out of art even at an elementary level or whatever level you are at. It's okay. So because Landis does cross-hatching work, that's part of why his work is so rich in detail. So even some of the most simple scenes can look really detailed if you put a lot of detail in the shading and the hatching and all of that. Today we're mostly talking about full scenes. So let me show you this piece that he did. So here we have a parade scene going on, and it may seem fairly simple at first glance, but there's actually a lot going on if you zoom in anywhere, really. But you can actually see he really simply has just kind of some rudimentary shapes in the background to show there's actually a huge crowd back there. And I love the cigar that this giant float has in his mouth, and he's got a nice wash going on over gray wash to add some texture. It's really great. There are also all these figures in the parade who each they're standing differently, they're walking differently, they have some different, each one kind of is his own character, which is great. And the different cross-hatching going on to show some shading in addition to the gray wash that he's got. You even have the shadows down there. So there's really a lot going on, and it's really nicely done. Now let's jump to another scene that he illustrated. So next we've got this apothecary scene, and there's a ton of detail going on here. It might even be a little bit too overwhelming, so we're just gonna zoom in a little bit. And even at this level, you can see there's a ton going on. But I love it. If you look on the right shelf over there, there's all these different bottles are the same shape and size, but the different liquid levels add a nice detail to it. You've got the mirror, so you can see this guy's reflection in the middle. And I love the way that Landis shaded these lamps over here to really show a lot of light coming out of them. And even just the architecture of the room itself is really interesting and has a lot of detail. Okay, now we're going to switch to our next artist, Ben Hatke. Now Ben has a very different style from Landis, totally different approach, but one thing that both artists have in common is a love of detail. So this is Julia's House for Lost Creatures. Ben wrote and illustrated this book, picture book. It's wonderful. If you haven't read it, you should. It's amazing. It's just really lovely. Like, it's just one room, but you've got the fire going and kind of a lot of character in the fireplace, and all these interesting statues going on here, or figurines, and a figure in a painting, some person over here. You actually have a character from one of his other books in here. That's Zeta the Space Girl. Little cameo. And over on this side you have this interesting staircase leading somewhere. This funny little door here. I don't know what that is, but I love it. I've always been a big fan of like strange small doors to unknown places. So this is Little Robot. I gave away my English copy to my nephew, so I only have this Czech copy that Ben gave me. But that's okay. It's there aren't very many words in it. But this first page, this first spread here, is actually modeled after my hometown, so that's special to me. So you've got the mountains over here, and there's like a water tower and a bridge and all these cars and the light from the headlights, and this crane back here, and the moon and the stars, and yeah, the river going on, and like the details in the bridge and the light there, and like the houses on the hill going up. So this is from Zeta the Space Girl. Anyway, I love this scene. You know, Zeta, this is very early on in the book, so not a huge spoiler, but Zeta's in this like strange new alien planet, and there's just all these interesting characters in here, and we've got, you know, like a market going on, different people trading things, some kind of interaction going here. These people are clearly walking together. This person has an interesting head going on. There's a giant snail. There are some nods to Spirited Away and No Face. We've got these interesting buildings going on. This one has a huge robot arm kind of thing. So there's like, and like all these kind of fading into the background buildings. So there's like a lot going on in just this one scene, and like kind of these figures having less detail as you get further into the background, which is a nice technique. So this is another great example of a really full scene that you could do. Okay, so for today's project, I want us to make a scene. I want you to grab a piece of paper and just fill it with details of a scene. So when you're picking your scene, you could choose something from your memory, from your imagination. You could just draw the scene from that you can see looking out your window. You could draw what your bedroom looks like right now, or what the kitchen looks like. I love drawing kitchens. I might do that for mine, I'm not sure. You could think about one of your favorite stories and draw a scene from that. But I just want it to be like very rich in detail. Now I know that some of the examples I showed you today were things that took a lot of time to make. Not only like for some of Landis's cross-hatching work, like I think some of those took weeks to make. Like I'm not asking you to do a full-fledged like multi-session project. I will say that tackling a project that takes more than one session to complete has a lot of value, especially an artistic project like this. But I'm not asking you to do that. If you don't want to sign up for that, it's totally fine. But just get a piece of paper, start filling it up, see what happens. Like I said, there are no real rules in art, so just have fun with it. Pick something that really engages you and interests you. There's all kinds of things that you could do for this, but just really fill the scene. You can feel free to play around with a new style like cross-hatching if you haven't tried that, or other kinds of shading techniques. Or you can maybe try shading through layering colors. You can just try drawing in a really realistic way or a really abstract way. You can sort of do a Dr. Seuss spin-off, you know, you can do all kinds of things because there are no real rules in art. Just have fun. Cool. So this is what I ended up making for mine. I did this from a photo, and this is the house where my parents lived for a while and where they got married. This photo was taken pretty recently. They lived there in the 70s, and no one has lived there since they left. My mom took me to it a few years ago, and I took this photo of it, and it just looks really cool, overgrown, and there's like tons of fern everywhere, all around here. You can't see it in the photo or the drawing. So I just tried to go kind of into a little bit of detail while not spending too much time on it. So I kind of sketched it out a little bit, and then I used a pen over that, and then I used watercolor over that, and kind of had a couple layers within the watercolor. But yeah, just that's what I made. So you can do whatever you want, just have fun with it, and have a good day. Okay, bye.